big a blow is this? Is this a huge part of Apple's business?
No, it's a very small part. The services business as a whole is globally 19 billion of the 230 odd. And so then within that, you break it down even further to books and to movies, and just in China, it's not very big.
But does it signal something
I think it is
about
sort of
their future in China?
Sort of. It's a sort of a statement from China saying, remember who's boss here. You know, we are the people controlling the internet in our country, and you've got to be careful and bear in mind that you've got to pander to us if we want you to.
Paul, would you echo that?
Yeah, I would. I think this is more of a flexing of muscles than it is something that's going to go straight to Apple's top or bottom line, given the the relative small scale of that business within Apple's whole operation. But again, and this extends beyond movies, obviously, in the long run. This extends to security issues and the kind of encryption debate we're having in the U.S. That China's prepared to flex its muscles and tell Apple what to do, and the question is, what is Apple prepared to do in response?
So, Alex, Apple earnings, of course, coming up. What are we expecting? China is a huge part of their business going forward, but so far mostly for hardware sales.
Yes, and the possible implication of this kind of thing is these are, as we say, part of the services business, and that services business helps make iPhones sticky. It helps make sure that customers keep buying iPhone products. I've got my music in iTunes. I therefore don't want to sacrifice that by having to try to port it to an Android. And so it hints at that. Apple is trying to build out its services revenue, use its iPhone subscriber base in order to generate a further sort of stable revenue stream over the course of the coming years.
So, Apple has made huge investments in China. Tim Cook has made many, many trips to China. Of course, Mark Zuckerberg has been learning Mandarin. He's on the board of Beijing's Tsinghua University. Paul, do you see a point in the future when the Chinese government will ever change its attitudes towards U.S. technology companies?
Not in the near future, not even probably in the medium-term future. No, it's really not in their interest to, because while they're happy to have these companies in there selling product, at the same time, they'd love to see a domestic industry grow up with companies at least as powerful and profitable as companies like Facebook and Apple. So they're always going to ride this fine line that there's going to be a tension between allowing companies to export products into the Chinese market and allowing domestic companies to, imitate and innovate on top of whatever those other companies are doing, so they can build a larger and stronger domestic technology industry. And so that's not going to go away until China is truly a first world economy.
Alex, quickly, what are you watching for when it comes to Apple earnings? We've talked about production cuts. We've talked about sales declining for the first time in a decade. How do you expect to see these play out? We
know that iPhone sales are going to drop. The question is how much. If it's in line with expectations, then that could be positive for the shares. If it's worse, then clearly negative. But, sort of no news is good news in this instance if it stays the same.